Hey, the internet, y'all got us all the way up. We met that dude, Duke the Jeweler, the night before. We was gambling. The next day, dude followed us to the concert. When we left out the concert, we under the garage. Dude went to his car by himself and walked down to the parking lot. That's when somebody tried to kill him.
He's the one that's tied to the dude that makes the loaded dice. Right? Check the play out. All entertainers, when you go to Houston, stay away from J. Prince Jr. It's a whole play going on. Here go the play right here. The play is a loaded dice.
Is that a jeweler named Duke recently got killed. And the story's really messed up. So I want you to talk about what happened.
Blood-stained dice rolled across the velvet table. Everyone smiled, but only one man would walk out alive. Duke the jeweler didn't die broke. He died surrounded by wolves. Now there's blood on Mob Ty's hands. And the feds know it. Duke didn't get robbed. He got executed, and not by some masked strangers in an alley. He died after leaving Boosie's dice game, surrounded by people who dapped him up one minute and might have been sending signals the next. Those same people are now under federal heat. And now 50 Cent is leaking the whispers, reposting the receipts, and hinting at a setup bigger than anyone thought. And here's what makes this mess straight up cinematic. Just 2 weeks before Takeoff was murdered under eerily similar dice game circumstances, Duke was the one shutting down the table at AJ, Prince Jr. dice game. And when the wrong man starts winning, that's when everything starts spiraling. Now the entire Mob Ty circle is being watched. Boosie, Jay, Prince Jr., Lil Cam, all of them. What started as whispers is turning into warrants. But how did we even get here? Let's zoom out. Because what looked like a friendly dice game may have been a loaded execution from the start. From the outside looking in, Duke the jeweler was living the dream. Chicago native, self-made, built his brand from nothing. He wasn't just slinging iced-out chains to SoundCloud rappers. This man was crafting pieces for big names, real clientele, and building a serious name in the industry. He didn't come to Houston for fun. He came for a bag. Boosie allegedly invited him down personally to talk about a custom piece. So Duke packed that $1 million Lewis duffel with his best designs and pulled up. What he didn't know was that the meeting was about to double as his final goodbye. Now, let's zoom in on that dice game. According to leaked audio from WAC 100, yes, directly from a source tied to the streets, this wasn't just a friendly game of chance. This was a whole operation. Allegedly, Jay, Prince Jr. runs what's now being called a loaded dice ring. And get this, it's always the same 3 guys at the table, Lil Cam, Big Capri, and Wolf. The trio rotates the dice like it's some passing ritual. The house always wins. And unless someone fumbles the rotation. Well, that night someone fumbled. According to WAC, Duke got past the dice that weren't meant for him, and they were loaded. He started hitting back to back. Hundreds, then thousands, then tens of thousands fast. And what happens when someone breaks a rig system? The people behind it panic. Let's talk math. Jay, Prince Jr., according to insiders, allegedly gets 30% of every dice night haul. So, when Duke started draining stacks, that wasn't just luck. That was a financial threat. Add to that, Duke's energy that night was loud, confident, and flex-heavy. He was dripping in diamonds, tossing stacks like confetti, and filming it all for Instagram. Now here's where it starts getting really off. If you pause the footage from that dice game, you'll catch Boosie making a soft whistle. Nothing aggressive, but then his nephew immediately turns and locks eyes with Duke. Another man in a red hoodie taps the nephew on the arm, like a signal. Suddenly, the vibe in the room shifts. One moment, Duke was cracking jokes and tossing dice. The next, it felt like a countdown, and just minutes later, Duke is dead. This is the kind of tension you can't fake. It's not paranoia, it's body language. Because when someone walks into a room full of people who've already decided how the night ends, you can feel it. And if you want even more proof that this was no ordinary game, ask yourself this. Why would a millionaire like Boosie bring a guest with over $1 million in jewelry into a dice game full of people he doesn't fully trust, without offering security? Why didn't Jay's Prince Jr. have protection set up for a known out-of-towner carrying that kind of heat? Well, let's rewind to the exact moment Duke left that dice game. He wasn't flanked by security, no team, no driver. Just him, walking solo through a dark Houston lot after being around millions in cash and ice all night. If that sounds off to you, that's because it is. But here's where it goes from suspect to sinister. Within minutes, shots ring out. Duke is ambushed and fatally shot. Now, usually in a setup or a robbery gone wrong, what's the first thing taken? Jewelry and cash. But Duke was found with everything still on him. So, what kind of robbery leaves behind seven-figure jewelry? The same $1 million jewelry he was wearing to Boosie's concert.
Went through a hard time but never gave up. I stayed tough, even when I got my chain stuck. Go through hard time, but we know that what made us. Can't blame us, we love the script, cause that what paid us. Yeah, ain't ass, I know them niggas laid off. My call king like get the pressure going where I'm up. I can't even find, you know how many nights I done stayed up. How many fucking nights.
And the real mic drop moment? That Louis Vuitton bag Duke was carrying, the one holding his most prized, unreleased jewelry designs, didn't just vanish. It showed up inside Boosie's house. Let that marinate. Houston PD confirmed this. Whether Duke handed Boosie the bag for safekeeping during the dice game or Boosie took it after the fact, we don't know. But one thing's clear. The bag made it back to Boosie. Duke didn't. And Boosie's response? A shaky Instagram live from a plane, claiming he barely knew Duke and that Duke just walked off.
He was walking to his car or something, and some dude tried to rob him. The dude tried to rob him. See, some dudes had tried to rob me and walked off by himself, bro. I had just met dude yesterday. They tried to rob dude, man. Dude must ain't get up.
Folks with flight Jack, we're up to departure, flight attendants. Please bear the captain.
Just met dude.
Didn't you say Duke was going to make you a custom chain? You barely knew him, but you invited him to a private dice game, and then let him walk to his car alone after flashing $1 million in jewelry? Something ain't clicking. Then he continued.
We was in a garage. He must have walked outside to the parking lot. We was in the garage. We heard this, but it like they was far away in the parking lot. He must have went to his car or something, but dude was gonna make a piece for him too. Dang.
But let's be real. He didn't look like an innocent man. He looked pale, worried. And if you thought that was bad, it gets worse. The feds, who had already been sniffing around Boosie for other legal issues, decided to split Duke's case off into a standalone federal investigation. That means no delays, no stacking it behind old charges, just a laser focus on what happened to Duke. So they did what they do best, track the phone. Duke's last phone ping? Boosie's recording studio. So unless Duke's phone got up and walked there by itself, someone from Boosie's circle took it there. And they weren't even trying to be slick. They didn't wipe it. They didn't destroy it. The phone just went dark after that ping, which means it was likely turned off manually. That's what got the feds heated. Next, they searched Duke's rental car. Forensics found prints from Boosie's nephew and cousin. And just when it felt like this couldn't get more twisted, it did. A witness, who was outside the building smoking, came forward. They said they saw Duke walking alone toward his car. Everything seemed normal until Boosie's nephew slid out from the shadows. It looked like he was waiting. Duke, sensing something was off, allegedly swung first, tried to defend himself, fought back. But he didn't stand a chance. One quick motion, and Boosie's nephew allegedly pulled the trigger. And they didn't even try to stage a robbery. Why? Because it wasn't about stealing. It was about silencing. And instead of disappearing the evidence, they kept the bag. That's not sloppy. That's arrogance. And you know who else noticed all this? 50 Cent. Ever notice how, when artists pull up to Houston, there's always that same warning? Make sure you check in. It's not official. It's not written down. But it's real. Artists, influencers, even athletes. They've all heard it. If you're moving through Houston without checking in with Jay, Prince Jr., and the Mob Tie Circle, you're playing with fire. But here's the thing nobody wants to admit. What happens when the people you're checking in with are the ones setting you up? Let's be clear, Jay, Prince Jr. was the host of the dice game Duke attended. The same host from the dice game where Takeoff was killed. And once Duke ended up dead, that check-in culture went from protection to suspicion. Because if Jay, Prince Jr. truly ran the city the way he claims, then why is it that two men didn't make it out alive? Even Whack 100 couldn't stay silent.
Entertainer invites him in, act like he's covering for him, hanging out, everything is cool. Let's go here, let's go there, let's go here, let's go there. He introduces the dice game. He got three right? Who rotate the dice. Now these dice is loaded. Tell me it's a Wolf, Big Caprice, and watch this, and Little Cam are the loaded dice rotators, right? He said, what? There was a situation that occurred that a certain jeweler round and got past the dice on accident and was hitting on them for a couple hundred. They got irritated about that. I ain't gonna go too far into that story because, right? Boom. The only way they could get their money back was hire their money back. He said, but Lil Cam, Wolf, and Big Caprice are the three designated to say I'm up, I got the next, and they pass the dice to each other, but they loaded, but they shooting.
He called it a scam ring, said Jay. Prince Jr. invites entertainers, plays the friend card, gets them comfortable, then walks them into a dice game where his people surround them.
It was a jeweler. I gotta do my research, see what jeweler might have been down there shooting dice. But nevertheless, to all the entertainers, you know, Dukes of Hazzard was one of my favorite shows, right? I don't know if y'all watched it. I was thinking about Daisy Dukes for a reason. I don't know why I said that. You know, one might go with it, may not go with it, but I don't know. If the math is math, and let it math. But entertainers, beware. Oh, with Jay Prince Jr., when he talked about let's go shoot some dice. Because the loaded dice crew of three, Lil Cam, Wolf, and Big Caprice. We know Lil Cam in there because I believe somehow, some way, he was caught up in the dice situation. Rest in peace, Takeoff. I don't know what's going on. But what I do know this, Jay Prince Jr. got a whole thing that when y'all come into town, hold on, bro. Didn't they say Fifth Ward earlier that day shooting dice?
Yep. That's a fact. That word been out, Whack. That word been out. We been got that memo.
And then, so I've been getting hit all day, and it got to the point that the thing, Quavo like, getting into dice. That's what this nigga Jay Prince Jr., boy, these niggas got all kind of shit going on down there. They say, he said the jeweler nigga got past the dice. He didn't even know the motherfuckers was loaded. He just think he hit. These niggas is mad as a motherfucker because they like, nigga, how you pass this nigga the loaded dice on us?
Now, word on the street is that some artists are quietly distancing themselves. Labels are pulling out of Houston events, and the whole scene is starting to feel radioactive. Even 50 Cent has started to subtly air it out. He's been reposting clips, dropping not-so-subtle captions, and calling out the game. Some say he's playing with fire. Others think he's just the only one bold enough to say what everybody else is thinking. Sources say Boosie is panicking. The feds are applying pressure, separating this case from his past gun charges, and digging specifically into the night Duke died. They've started looking into his mansions, his financials, even his son's digital trail. But the real chaos? It might be coming from inside. Allegedly, Boosie's own girlfriend told someone that Boosie ran back inside that night, clearly hiding something. Yet he keeps pretending like he knew nothing.
His car was outside the arena under where we was. It was on side the parking lot, so he had to walk to his car. And that's where the incident took place, when somebody, tried to get him or whatever. But Vlad, bro, if anybody know me, bro, that ain't my stilo, bro. You know what I'm saying? That ain't how I get down, bro. Like, that ain't how none of my people get down. And that's just the bottom line. That's shit that we wouldn't do. And, we was fucked up about it because obviously they were watching us. Obviously they were waiting for anybody to walk across that parking lot to them cars and get in them cars. So, it could have been one of us.
And now people are wondering, if Boosie falls, who's he bringing down with him? Because Boosie doesn't roll solo. His nephew is involved. His cousin is involved. And now his name is tangled up with Jay, Prince Jr., who's already under pressure after Takeoff's death. The threads are crossing, and they're all leading back to one table. And it gets even messier. Finesse 2 times, the same artist Mob Ties once stood behind, is now airing out everything. He went from shouting out Jay, Prince Jr. in interviews to barely saying his name. It's clear something flipped. At first, the fallout looked quiet. Finesse just stopped showing up around Jr. No concerts. No backstage hangs. Just distance. Then the whispers started. Apparently, the whole thing started over a woman. And not just any woman, Finesse's baby mama. A few months ago, she and her mother allegedly lined him up, called the cops, got him locked up for violating probation. And guess who stepped in to get him out? Jay, Prince Sr. himself. Behind the scenes, he made a few calls, and Finesse was back on the streets within 2 weeks. But instead of showing gratitude, Finesse went right back to the same girl. That's when Senior had enough. He got on Twitter and said it with his chest. I told a homie to stay the **** away from that woman if he loves his life. But the homie wouldn't listen to my words, even though I had to step in to get him out of prison. Y'all better be careful out here thinking these women have your best interest.